Dave Nemo with you, and it's great to be with you on this Wednesday morning. And Tim Aschoff, good morning. Welcome back. Always great to have you with us.
It's great to be here, and I know up in this part of the country it's a beautiful sunny morning. I hope we're sending that sunshine down your way to help dry you guys out.
Boy, I'll tell you what, they are really suffering over in the western part of Louisiana, that's for sure, South Louisiana. But yeah, the rain has now moved on over to Texas, and now they've got some flooding concerns, so it never ends. We have the fires out in California, I-15 through Cajon is closed. If it ain't one thing, it's another, and it just hits every place. It's amazing. But Tim, you got Melvin Mayer with you there, and I thought maybe you would do the honors and introduce Melvin.
Absolutely, and I'm so happy to have him here. Melvin's a driver that's been with Crete Carrier for 22 years, just about half of his career. He's been driving out on the road for 39 years, and before that is a proud U.S. Army veteran and father of three and two grandkids, so a great person to kind of help us out today to talk about that transition, as you mentioned in the opening here, to a company like Crete and Shaffer and some of the challenges that can create, but how we work through those together to be successful.
Got some pretty specific things I'm going to talk to Melvin about here in just a moment. But when you take the overall view, what are some of the transitions that drivers face when they move to a larger transportation company? And I guess there's some complications also.
Yes, when I talk to a lot of new drivers that come on board here as they're coming through orientation, sometimes I see a little bit of hesitancy, or sometimes just a little kind of wonder in their eyes about how am I going to know how to communicate, what to communicate, who to communicate to, and then as you have larger companies at times have to have a lot more procedures and processes and other things to follow just to keep things organized, and sometimes drivers aren't used to that, and our challenge then often becomes is how do we make sure we communicate not only the processes, what we need people to do is successful, how we communicate, but then the understanding behind that and the why. And that's part of why I'd like to bring Melvin on the show today, because I think my relationship with Melvin started here at the company in just one of those conversations, the understanding of the why. And I think that's why Melvin's been so successful here, is he knows it takes a mutual respect. The company has to obviously respect the driver, and the driver has to understand and respect what goes on at a company and why we have to do things. And one of the first opportunities I had to meet with him is that's what he needed. He needed to understand the why of a situation, and it also helped me realize that we as a company didn't do a very good job of explaining that why. And so over the years we've learned from each other on how to make sure we make each other successful, and that's exactly what we want to talk about today, is how we can make somebody successful coming on to a company like ours.
Yeah, and that's not just in trucking, that's in just about any situation, even in the radio broadcasting world. There's quite a bit of difference, say, in a small town, little radio operation where you pretty much do everything, everybody, there's 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people that are there, and then you move to New York City, and whoa, it's the same thing, but really a lot different, so we can all kind of look at those parallels, I guess. But Melvin, I guess we've been talking about you long enough. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Dave. I'd like to talk about the transition from a small company to a big company, if you don't mind. Crete is a huge corporation, and we have the Qualcomms, we have e-logs, we have policies that we have to follow and on-time deliveries to make. The new people that come over from a smaller company have problems with the amount of information that they have to process, the amount of things that they have to learn, and there are several of us people here in Lincoln that help with that. We have a training department, and we help the new people understand that even though it's a lot to learn and it's a lot to get used to, it is learnable. And as we go through this, we show them the benefits of Crete Carrier Corporation, the the big picture, what's in it for them if they will just put in a little bit of effort to learn these policies and procedures. And with that, they can get out on the highway and be successful and have a grand time rolling from one state across to another state. It's a pretty big chore for them to learn, but we have to convince them that it's the effort that they put into it is well worth it at the end. They can be driving down the road happy as they can be and successful.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Well, we're going to get to some of the what questions, but why don't we start off with a why question? And this is a pretty basic question, Melvin. Why do you train drivers?
Why do I train? I'm trying to make a difference, Dave, in the industry, one driver at a time. I've been in the industry pretty much all my life. It's been good to me. I feel I have a debt to pay to the industry. I'm trying to pass on manners, respect, dignity. You hear people talk about back in the day. Let me tell you how it was when I first started back in the day. I hear that quite frequently in everyday conversation. My mission in life is to bring that back. I can do that visiting with the young people. I can teach them manners. I can teach them respecting their self, respecting the truck, respecting the company. I can bring back the old way it used to be back in the mid-70s. I'm trying to do my part in that. It's a major task. I'll never get it completed, but I am making a difference. I can see it daily, one trainee at a time and one coworker at a time. I'm making progress. That makes me feel good. I want people to succeed as I have.
You know, Tim, Melvin brings up a really good point. If you go back to the quote, good old days, unquote, and Melvin and I go back far enough to remember some of those. But back in the 50s, 60s, through maybe the mid 70s, there was a company identification that drivers had. They wore uniforms. They wore the military style cap, or a lot of folks call it the bus driver's cap. They had uniforms, shirts, patches, that sort of thing. So there was a real identifiable factor in terms of being a driver. Not that you want to bring that back, although some people do, but I think that kind of plays to what Melvin was saying about moving to a company like Crete and kind of getting into the modus operandi of the organization.
Absolutely, and I think what behind that uniform, or beyond that uniform, that we want to still have and create is that level of camaraderie. I think that came with that, and respect that came with that. We understand that being an over-the-road driver can be a challenging job, but also very rewarding, and that we, as the non-drivers of the world, need to recognize those people that do that and show that respect. And sort of that old uniform was a way of immediately recognizing that. But the key thing to that is having that camaraderie and respect. And as you mentioned, it's hard to get everyone wanting to wear a uniform. Although I'll tell you that most often when I see Melvin, it looks like he's in uniform with his good appearance, as he's saying. But it's recognizing the drivers for what they do and respecting them for that.
No matter how big a company is or how small it is, it's still a bunch of people. It's either a big bunch or a small bunch. Melvin, you mentioned Qualcomm just a moment ago in speaking. How have you dealt with Qualcomm communication? And the other thing about that, though, and when we talk about people and relationships, how has it taken away the personal touch in everyday business? And how do you work around something like that?
The Qualcomm is a fantastic piece of machinery. We use it to communicate on company business, load assignments, pick up dates, pick up times, directions to the shipper, directions to the receiver, special phone numbers to get a hold of security. All the information we need as a driver is provided on the Qualcomm. It's a fantastic piece of machinery, technology. The personal touch has been lost because operations and big corporations, they're busy. They deal with, I'm guessing, 5,000 drivers right now. I don't know the exact numbers, but they're dealing with several drivers and several issues all at the same time. The secret that I have found that helps the most is when you do pick up the phone to call for a special issue that can't be addressed over the Qualcomm, whenever I'm asked my truck number, deep inside of me, I take offense at that, but I immediately get a grip on that offense and say, my name is Melvin Mayer. My truck number is. That practice that I use on the telephone or via the Qualcomm has changed the way that people treat me, the way that people speak to me. After a few phone calls with an individual or a total stranger on the telephone in corporate headquarters, when I say my name is Melvin Mayer, that's when they change their attitude and they'll say good morning, good afternoon, how may we help you? And the relationship builds from there. The conversation goes uphill from that. So it's just a conscious effort that I make. Anytime I'm asked my truck number, I will give that, but I give my name first. So that has added relationships, and that has added good communicative skills on their part. So,
well, that's a proactive. Yeah, that's a proactive approach. In other words, you can kind of grouse about that, but then you can kind of get on top of the thing and kind of turn that around. And Tim, you talk about Qualcomm and things and the instantaneous communications. Again, I've been around long enough to know that payphones at truck stops were second only to payphones at airports. And the lines were pretty much as long. Or you'd have a phone at a rest area someplace at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's raining and you're trying to get your dispatch, and guess what? They put you on hold. They may have known your name, but man, you're standing out in the rain in the dark to make that happen. So again, you give a little, you take a little. It's a 50-50 kind of a thing, I would imagine.
It is, and so you want to make that communication, as Melvin said, more efficient, more effective, and then try to balance that with still having that personal side, and we try to work hard to make sure we have that personal side to build that relationship with our teammates here. But as Melvin said, is just like when back in the payphone days when you were putting somebody on hold because you had to deal with other calls that were coming in from other drivers. It's a little the same with the Qualcomm messages. You're dealing with other Qualcomms or other calls. So in some ways, in the good old days, you still had some of the same issues. They just manifest themselves a little bit differently. Doesn't make it right. Even in all those days, we want to be good communicators and build that good relationship with that driver. And I think Melvin hit it on the head. We all have to be proactive in how we communicate and in building that relationship with each other. And as I mentioned, I think that's part of the reason how my relationship with Melvin started. We took the time to sit down and talk about an issue and understand each other, and that's how you build a relationship. And what we do encourage our people is that Qualcomm is a good tool, but you do need to pick up the phone and build those relationships as well, because you can't understand the tone, you can't understand the meaning oftentimes through a Qualcomm, and there's nothing like, well, first of all, nothing like face-to-face communication, but after that, at least being on the phone.
The word relationship occurred about 17 times just now, and rightly so. You have to have good communications and relations with the folks you're working with, whether they're out on the road or back at the terminals. But then there's that other relationship, Melvin. What about the relationship with loved ones at home? Do you have any advice at all for some of the new folks in the industry on how to maintain those relationships with loved ones at home?
The home issue, the home time issue is a whole nother thing. A driver that's going to spend a lifetime out here on the highway has to take, you used the word proactive earlier, a driver has to take a proactive approach to home time. The first thing a driver has to do is understand what the family goes through, the sacrifices that the family makes for the career of a truck driver. Drivers have to miss birthday parties. Drivers have to miss recitals at school. So drivers have to understand the hardships that they impose on the family. With that being said, when the driver does go home, I have to give 100% of my attention to my family. Turn the TV off, lay the newspaper down, turn your cell phone off, and pay attention to your family. Some of the topics that they want to discuss are, I know you don't want to listen to, you want to watch TV or do something else, but it's important to them that you listen and pay attention to your family and give them quality time, because you have stole so much quantity time out here on the highway. It's a delicate balance that a driver has to go through. But if he's going to be successful out here on the highway, you have to have a loving, supporting family at home, and that doesn't come easy. It takes work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of listening and paying attention to your family. If they ask you to do something, to spend quality time with them, go to the park, go to the zoo, the answer should always be yes. So home time is important, but it's a delicate balance over quantity versus quality. So there you go.
That's a profound statement, Tim. It really is. An abundance of quality time can maybe overcome a lack of quantitative time. That might be something for a poster. I mean, seriously, that says it all right there.
I think we all can learn from that statement, even those that aren't even out on the road and away from home for long periods of time. I think we can get in that cycle as well. So that is something, and again, a very, very thoughtful and respectful statement. It shows Melvin's, again, wanting to understand always what's going on, and I think that's a key of him understanding what's going on with his family at home as well.
Melvin, we had just a very, very brief moment, a matter of seconds before we came on the air here to say hello, and you said, yeah, I remember you from the 70s, man. Back in those days, trucking radio meant two things: weather reporting and country music, and that was pretty much it. There was no FMCSA. It was still ICC for a lot of those years. The rules and regulations had been in place since the 1930s. Had a few things come along down the pike, don't get me wrong, but big ones such as deregulation and the CDL. But generally speaking, trucking just kind of rolled right along, and everything was copacetic. You figured it out and made it work. But not anymore today. We all know that. DOT regulations, that's all we've been talking about here this morning on the program so far. That's all we ever talk about anymore, regulations. So what about DOT regulations? And then even company policies, Melvin. You have been through it all in your career. How do you deal with that stuff personally?
Personally, on a personal note, a professional truck driver, there's still a 24-year-old young man in me that knows everything, that's immortal, that wants to change the trucking industry. A part of that is still alive. So when I hear of a new company policy from the Crete Carrier Corporation, we're going to do this, or I hear DOT says we're going to get e-logs, my first reaction is generally anger. Why do we want to fix something that's not broke? Who came up with brilliant ideas like this? It sounds good on paper, but it's not going to work in real life. So there's a period of anger that generally lasts a day or two. After the anger subsides, I'm on a trip from Nebraska to Los Angeles, and I have plenty of windshield time to analyze what could be the benefits of this policy change. How can it help me? How can I get around it? And after I spend a week or two rationalizing about why the policy is, why did they change it, after I work on that, then comes a realization of why it's in place. After that takes place, I roll with the flow. One of the big things that I deal with personally is after the anger, after the policy change, I have to weigh the balance of what do I want to do. That answer would be, I want to drive the truck from LA to Chicago. I want the windshield time out across the country. It's what I do. I treasure the highway. In order to do that, I have to follow company policy. I have to follow DOT regulations. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. But what it boils down to is, what do I want? I want to drive the highway. What does it cost? It costs me a little bit of pride and ego. And what is it worth? After I get out of the LA basin with all the traffic, I've got Arizona to cross. That's what it's worth to me. The windshield time is my prize. That's my goal. That's what I'm going for. After the traffic, after the construction, I want my hours of freedom with the windshield.
Melvin, you have shared some very valuable radio time with us here this morning. Man, thank you so much for your insight on things. Really appreciate having you with us on the program.
Thank you, sir. If you get a chance today, can we listen to some Evelyn Woodhead speed reading courses commercials?
You do remember. Thank you, Melvin. Hey, Tim Aschoff, thanks so much for being with us. Thanks for bringing Melvin to the program.
Great to be here. Glad he could be here, and always happy to be on the show with you, and appreciate your support.
Thank you so much. And that's Tim Aschoff, president of Shaffer, COO of Crete, and Melvin Mayer, a great driver out on the road, been with Crete for about 22 years, been driving for almost 40 years.